All right, starting the video in
Three,
three,
two,
two,
one,
one,
go.
go.
You still said starting the video.
Yeah, I know. It's a discussion time.
So with D4, the reason I say that it probably had really lackluster sales is that when it was announced, it was announced in like really early September 2014. The game came out September 19th, 2014. Like there was maybe a week between the announcement and the actual release.
Oh,
So there wasn't a whole lot of press leading up to the game.
yeah.
And it was also an Xbox One exclusive and had to be, it was pushed with the Kinect, basically. Like, it was a very Kinect-focused game.
As we saw, right?
Yeah, and this was towards the end of the mandatory purchase of, like, a Kinect with an Xbox One. Like, they used to bundle those together, and you had to have one and the other.
Right.
So this was, like, right at the end of that,
Sheesh.
with this sort of weird game that didn't get a whole lot of attention.
No, and again, people were really not happy with the Xbox One during that time frame.
I mean, and they still kind of are. So, like, when it came to the PC about a year later, I'm sure a lot of people were more hopeful that there would be at least another episode or, like, another season. Because it's a little unclear whether or not there was supposed to be an episode 3 of Season 1 or if there was just supposed to be Season 2.
Right.
Because that would make Season 1 only
I mean,
a prologue and 2 episodes.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. They didn't really give you an idea of how they were going to play it out.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll have to see with Access Games whether or not they make any more of D4. I mean, they haven't done a whole lot outside of it.
Yeah, but then the question is, is it going to be terrible like any game with a major creator gone?
Yeah, and it's not like Swery left on bad terms or anything. It had to do with his health. Because at the time, I guess he had really bad, I think it's reactive hypoglycemia.
Oh.
And sort of stepped down, kind of retiring.
Right.
But the thing is, as of really early this year, he announced that he's making his own studio, a la Kojima Productions.
Oh, okay.
And this one's called White Owl Studios.
Oh, yeah, we had discussed that a little bit ago, that's right.
I can't imagine where he would have gotten that from.
No, definitely can't picture it.
But, I mean, I really like this game. It sucks that it's probably not going to see a real conclusion.
Yeah, it would be nice to have some kind of closure is what I meant, closure to it.
Or at least some sort of answers. Because, I mean, we get that Philip Cheney is associated with Real Blood, but it's hard to know if Real Blood is like a conspiracy with a lot of people behind it, or if it's just like a couple of fucking weirdos.
Right. Whatever it is, he had a lot of real blood on him. Or just blood, I'm not sure.
I think it was a mix of both.
It's a little ridiculous.
But I mean, we're also left with the questions then of like, what did Cheney have to do with Peggy's death? Who took David to the hospital after he was shot that night?
Yeah. Yes. There are a lot of unanswered questions that even just one episode would alleviate.
Yeah. And I think we can get into some of that speculation.
Yeah.
So
a little bit. I mean, do I think that Philip Cheney had everything to do with everything? I don't think so. There would be a lot more information about related cases with electricity, right? So
maybe I think it's more just like that last cutscene after the credits clearly Forrest Gayson and August Oldman had something to do with something.
Right. They're in cahoots together with something.
But it does seem like Mr. Oldman is actually mourning Peggy's death. So he at least didn't want her to die. So if he was in on it, maybe he just wanted David taken care of and not Peggy.
Somehow, yeah, the hit, quote-unquote, hit on David went awry and Peggy stepped in front of it or something weird like that, yeah.
So I think, if I had to guess, I would say that maybe Forrest, maybe Teddy was the person that took David to the ICU. Because, I mean, really, who else would there be?
Right, it's not like Amanda would have been able to do anything like that.
And remember, Amanda is a cat. Like,
yes.
Why she appears as a human? That might just be Swery's weirdness. I mean, that's kind of hard to understand.
So the question then becomes, does Teddy see her as a human or see her as a cat? Is it only David that sees her as a human?
He would have to see her as a cat. I mean, just look at the scene where he tries to take the evidence box from her.
Yeah.
Like, a cat can't really hold on. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just some weird hallucination that David's having.
Could very well be. Now, the other thing is Teddy there to throw David off the trail because it was something related to her foster father?
I doubt that. I mean, the mementos are real. Like, he's bringing him evidence that David otherwise would not have gotten.
True. But could it be that he's bringing him evidence to distract him with other cases rather than lead him towards the actual answers?
Well, I mean, if that's the case, he's clearly not doing a good job, because that led us right to Philip Cheney.
True. That's very true.
So I don't believe that Teddy had anything really bad to do with it. It just seems like maybe he's got some ulterior motive that would be further explored in a later episode.
Could be. And maybe her foster father isn't evil. Maybe he's not the bad guy, but you're led to believe that.
Probably just because of the voice.
Exactly. Maybe he's like, hey, watch over David, make sure he's okay. Or help him solve the case of my daughter's murder.
Mm-hmm.
So, hard to tell.
Yeah. And I mean,
It's very little information going on, being given.
yeah, and I mean, with David being undercover for Real Blood, it's kind of like there's one big plot point that they allude to and kind of like directly say in a couple of instances where like David's time travel power seems to come directly from Real Blood.
Right.
Like it started after he came out of the ICU. Olivia mentions that some people she talked to that were on Real Blood mentioned that they got powers.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Philip Cheney's power was over electricity when it came to Real Blood.
Right. Yeah, certainly.
So I wonder if he...
But does that mean that David got into Real Blood while he was undercover? Like he went too deep? Did somebody drug him?
Who knows?
Yeah.
And like who really killed Peggy? Like it might have come up that like David was on Real Blood when he killed her. Or I say when he killed her, like we don't know clearly.
Right, like if he killed her, he could have been doing it under the influence. Who knows?
So let's go back real quick to one line during the very beginning of episode 2 when we're on the frozen lake.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy says that she was saved by her 2 wonderful dads, and I said, we're probably not going to hear anything more about that.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I was telling the truth, but like, I'm not sure what she means by that.
Well, it could be real dad and foster father.
Potentially, but how would they have saved her from the lake?
It's a good point.
I'm actually looking back real quick to see something, because one thing that's kind of bothered me about August Oldman is I don't think he looks like the dad from the prologue.
That was my thought. They look different. Or at least I thought they did, but could easily be hairstyle changes.
Just gotta find that spot.
Look at how different David looks with it. Everything changing on his face.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at the prologue again, I would almost say that her father looks more like Teddy.
Really?
Which is weird.
That would be
yeah.
Very
I mean,
weird.
like they really aged August Oldman if he was that same person. But I also I don't think that means that Teddy's her father, because he is from New York, like.
Right.
Though I
and
guess
it would...
he did say he's been in Boston for like 30 years, and it is said, I think during one of the letters, like Peggy's
not that old.
late 20s.
Yeah, it could be.
So who knows?
But why would he not remember her? I guess he wouldn't recognize her if you gave her up as a baby.
I don't know. That could just be like a wild goose chase, big old red herring, trying to figure out this other dad situation.
Could be. I mean, obviously they didn't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm. Because like Real Blood didn't really start until about 2010, which was 4 years ago in the game, and like the Blood series was maybe like 5 to 10 years older than that.
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot of questions. Unfortunately, there aren't that many answers.
not at all. Especially for being the end of 2 episodes, you didn't get a whole lot of information. But I guess if they planned on going further, there wasn't much to give.
So I don't quite know.
It would be nice if Swery could just put down his thoughts on where he was going with it. Maybe that means he is planning on making another game. Who knows?
Well, I mean, he just started a brand new studio. I hope he's making another game.
Yeah, good point.
Clearly.
Hopefully it is going to be... maybe he can get the rights if he's still on good terms with Access.
He said he's on good terms with Access. I don't think he can get the rights for it. I think Microsoft might also have something to do with that, because it's been a Microsoft exclusive.
True, but that doesn't mean he can't develop for Microsoft.
I think the point of going indie was maybe not to be with Microsoft anymore.
That could be.
Because even Kojima is not working directly for Sony. I think he's working more with Sony. So I mean, We'll see. He hasn't. Swery hasn't announced any new projects.
Right.
So maybe something will come up this E3. Who knows?
Could be. I wonder if he's gonna have to do like a Kickstarter or anything like that if he's going indie.
Well, I mean, he still has a game studio. Like, it's
true.
an indie studio, but it is still a studio. I don't know if he'd kickstart. He's kind of maybe too niche for that.
Yeah.
Like, D4 is not quite the most well-known game out there.
Very true.
But I mean, we'll see. I mean, I keep following Swery's Twitter, which is it's quite interesting. If you ever want somebody to say hello and good night almost every night of the week.
He's a very personable guy.
If you ever want to see him going drinking.
Go drinking.
I think very recently he just said that he needed tequila. But I mean, we'll see. E3 is, what, like a month and a half, 2 months away?
Yeah. Haven't been following.
So if there's anything, he'll probably announce something Though the studio's only been in existence for a few months, so maybe it's too early for that still.
It could be. Yeah, it does take a lot to develop.
Yeah, he even said that from when they started D4 to when they actually released it, I think it was like 4 years.
That sounds about right. Although that ukulele game that's coming out, that's only been in production for like a year and a half. It's already getting released.
That's much smaller scale.
Very true.
So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he can do something with it, because it was a very it grabbed my attention. I got invested in it.
Well, that's because I forced you to watch it.
Well, yeah, but still, I enjoyed it enough to want to see it end.
Oh yeah, like it's a really good mix of goofy and serious, and I think that it hits those marks pretty well, even if sometimes goes a little crazy.
They could do away with
The slow talking man.
with the big doctor dude.
Well, I think that's made up for it by the fact that it comes right after a stunt scene.
True.
And most of his conversation is entirely optional, and you can skip it, so, I mean...
Yeah, if you want to, but there's some information that you'd be missing if you didn't.
Yeah, if you want to get the full experience, I guess you'll have to listen to every word.
God. So awful.
We'll have to stay tuned to, what he's up to. Who knows?
Fitting himself into a vent.
I was talking about Swery.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit what Roland's doing in the future. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what he has to offer, because he's called D4 sort of the game that he's always wanted to make, and it definitely seems that way. Like, Deadly Premonition is very Twin Peaks, but there's a lot of influence from Deadly Premonition in D4, and you can see it everywhere. Like, there's references and like structures in place. So it seems like D4 is more him refining the game that he's always wanted to make.
Right.
And like he said that he chose Boston because it's like sort of the birthplace for America in a sense. And I think that's just because his like friend and English teacher plays a lot of hockey. And if you're gonna pick an American town with hockey,
it is a big hockey town. Well, hopefully, since it's his brainchild, hopefully he's going to decide to continue forward with it.
I'm fine with him making something new at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been so long. It sounds like it's been so long since they've even worked on the game.
True. It'd be hard to tie them back together.
Let me look up twitter.com/accessgames.
Hey, what else are they doing?
As of literally the past 24 hours, they've mentioned the D4 original soundtrack is now available, and I don't know if that means you can just download it. Okay, no, I didn't think so. It looks like you can just purchase it on like Amazon and iTunes. I got one of the discs from Bandcamp because it was the one with Drink Dead Dom Die, which is the name of that very like Dropkick Murphys kind of song.
Right, gotcha.
I'm sorry, it's Drank Dead Dom Die.
There we go.
And I think
Beautiful.
I haven't seen this anywhere, and it's kind of a stretch, but I think Drank Dead Dom Die is like a drunk person trying to remember Dark Dreams Don't Die.
That sounds right. I like it. We'll stick to that.
Actually, that's weird. It looks like... Yeah, that's really weird. It looks like Access Games' Twitter is almost on a loop. Where it's like the same posts every couple of days.
Oh, that's weird.
Like, the D4 original soundtrack is now available. That's like 3 days ago. Then there's one from 4 days ago. Here's another one from 5 days ago. Yeah, they're looping the same ones, so
Advertising, I guess.
there's certainly no new details.
No. Except that the soundtrack's available, even though it's been 2 years since it was released.
Yeah. But I mean, it is a really good soundtrack. I'll link to everything in the thread, because they do have a YouTube page for D4, and it's got all the soundtrack songs in their entirety.
Oh, that's good.
Like, the ending credits song that we heard was a very cut down version to like 2 minutes, and the original is like over 5.
Nice.
And Drank Dead Dom Die has way more lyrics than we were ever able to hear.
Of course it does. Well, it was definitely a good game. Shame it was so short.
Yep, but I bet you can't wait for the next LP.
Oh, no, I can't.
Because, I mean, really, at this point, it's got to be Dark Souls 3, because it's what I'm recording right now.
Well, at least you don't have a huge backlog.
I do.
Oh, God.
I got 13 episodes already, motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
I'm just getting started.
That's alright. I enjoy watching you play Dark Souls.
And since it's going to take, like, a lot of parts to get through that game, we'll probably do something else in the meantime.
Okay.
But yeah, D4 will always be that little weird game that could, even though it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ever get an episode 3 or we ever get a season 2, we are definitely coming back to it.
Yeah, we gotta finish it up.
Like, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it's not 3 years from now when I forget everything.
Oh,
Or,
they'll probably have, like, something in there like they do between every episode to refresh your memory.
that's true. Let's be honest, even 6 months from now, I'm gonna forget everything. But that's okay.
Well, who knows? This might not be the last of David Young, but realistically, it probably is.